Good morning, day 13. The sun has returned, at least partly. Got partly cloudy sunrise here. It's beautiful, beautiful. Muted colors. So beautiful. Um, we finished up the book. I finished up the book of Mark this morning. It's a short chapter. Jesus has been crucified and buried in the tomb. Mary and Salome go to anoint the body, and they find the stone has been rolled away. There is an angel. Actually, it doesn't even say angel, it says a young man. There's just a young man sitting inside. So, quite a different account than Matthew. Um, and he just says, Hey, Jesus has gone on ahead in Galilee just like he said he would. Go tell the disciples, including Peter. So that's where we're going to camp today or talk about, because the last time we saw Peter, and the book of Mark is an account based on Peter's sermons, is my understanding. And it's a book written actually by John Mark. So that's why it's called the book of Mark, just in case, like, I had to do a little recon on that myself. I'm like, yeah, rookie reading the Bible. Um, and But the last time we saw Peter was a couple of days ago when he denied Jesus 3 times before the rooster crowed. And he was devastated. He was probably beating himself up. So that's what I've called today, is the little snippet that we can apply and help us when we're feeling down about ourselves and what we've done. We are down, but we're not out. As long as you're still living, there is hope. There is the possibility to turn around. And I picked that up because, again, it doesn't say just go tell the 12. It says go tell the disciples, including Peter. Personally names himself. So you can tell he's feeling a bit redeemed, a bit hopeful. Like, look, I really failed over here. I failed. And yet Jesus still counts me not only among his chosen, but the church is still going to be found on me. I am still Peter. He doesn't refer to himself as Simon. He refers to himself as Peter. And that was the name that Jesus had given him from the Greek word Petros, which means rock. Upon this rock, my church will be built. So even though he has just done this, the angel or the young man in the tomb specifically says, or at least in this account, or at least this was the message that Peter received, that he was still one of the chosen, one of the among, like he still had his assignment. So he didn't disqualify himself. If anything, it probably qualified him more. As we're learning about just the law of paradox that is in God's world, and that we humans, the lesson that we need to learn is that normally our first impulse, the survival brain, the amygdala, that oldest part of our brain that protects us and has thoughts and wants to make decisions from a purely in the moment survival, is usually not what gets us a good life overall in the big picture, because it's only concerned about now. It doesn't think about how is this going to play out in the future. Or I would imagine Peter felt so bad, and I wonder too if his instinct, just out of protection, would have been to, hey, good morning, would have been to continue to just beat himself up. and then move on and do something different, count himself out. Like that, I think, is the temptation when we think we have failed at something or haven't done what we're supposed to do, that there's our evidence. We might as well turn and just go do something else, because it's so painful for us to admit that we're wrong. That's what we've been talking about the last couple of days. Like, it is so painful to, why is that? It's not literally painful. I mean, if we fixate on those thoughts too much, it can become physically painful, because we are physiological beings. Hey, good morning. We are physiological beings, which means be careful what you think, because you might manifest it in your body. And we can cause ourselves physical pain with enough fear and enough depression and, all of these things, anxiety, worry, doubt. But Peter received the message. I didn't screw up so bad. I'm going to fix this. I would imagine he felt very empowered in that moment. He was included. He was accepting the inclusion, the assignment, okay, I can make this right. And I can imagine having literally done something that he thought was impossible, denying Jesus, that actually convicted him and gave him even more motivation, a constant reminder to go forward with strength and conviction. I'm not going to screw it up again, kind of mentality. Have you ever done that? I know I've done that. Those moments, those are crossroad, reckoning moments. I can either feel defeated and continue to live that way and, tuck my tail between my legs and go in a different direction. And a lot of us do make that choice. Or I can own it and rise up and use it to fuel my fire, use it as fuel. Down, but not out. And I just think that is a message in this particular chapter from the book of Mark, from Peter, that we can take for ourselves. We are not, and from Jesus, from God, we are not expected to be perfect. Humans, we somehow kind of think we are supposed to be. I don't know where that really comes from. Again, I think, yes, I do. It's the amygdala. It's the, that survival brain. We are so afraid of not belonging, of not being part of whatever club we want to be a part of, that we will, and not only that, but we want a good standing in that club. We want to be the cream of the crop of whatever club we've chosen. And that often causes us to posture, not be completely truthful, try to pretend that we're perfect even when we're not, because that is how important that drive and desire is to us. It's just a survival part. And that is part of what the good news is all about, is you can't be perfect. Stop trying. I love you anyway. Come over here and help me. Let me put my super on your natural. And maybe together we can build you a good life and we can help other people. That's some pretty good news. The good news and the message of salvation is not be perfect or go to hell, follow all of these rules or go to hell. It is, come over here, give love a try, and consciously live from love and treat other people like you love them, even if you don't. Let's just give it a try. And and invite me into that process, and maybe I'll show you something's possible that you thought was impossible when you include me in your life and include my ways. But we have to be willing to try it, to do it, which means behaving in ways that are counterintuitive to ourselves. And what our survival brain will be freaking out and telling us, don't do it, don't do it. Just like in that moment, Peter was trying to survive when he denied Jesus. He literally felt his life being threatened. And his survival, he was human. His survival brain kicked in. He denied Jesus. Even though just moments before, he had felt so passionate, like there's no way I can not feel this way, that there's no way I can deny you. We do that. We convince ourselves that we're so passionate, and when our survival gets threatened, boop, see ya. And that is really hard to overcome. And maybe, just maybe, now this is where I'm going to go off in left field a little bit. Maybe it's true that Peter could have been killed in that moment. And Jesus knew that this would happen. And he was already using it because he knew how badly Peter would feel and how much extra conviction that would give him to do his assignment. And also that he would survive that witch hunt. And, Jesus knew it all. He needed him to survive. So he didn't have to go find somebody new to build the church on. So Peter's very survival instincts ended up working for the kingdom of God. That's what God does. He comes in and he layers in what we can't do on our own and use it in ways that we can't even imagine. And that if we did it according to our way and what we think we can do and in our own passion and strength, he can do so much more. So when you screw up or when you think you have screwed up, just own it, rise back up and let God come in. Allow yourself to be humble. That is where life is. I came up with an acronym for myself I use all the time. It's a prayer. To live hugely. The only way I can live hugely in my humanness starts with humbleness. Humble me, use me, guide me, lead me every day your way. When I remember to pray that prayer, it even just gives me a lift saying it again. Kind of got out of that habit. I need to pull that back out again and use that more. Humble me, humble me, humble me. Then I can be used. It's hard to use somebody who won't humble themselves. If you've ever been in a leadership position and you're leading somebody, they need to understand that you're the leader, right? It doesn't work too well when they were like, no. I have one of my children that's like that. It's challenging. But it's for our own benefit. And we need to let ourselves be fully human. And then just ask for God's grace and mercy and direction and help me do the things that I don't want to do. I don't want to do it this way, but I'm going to trust you. That's faith and trust in action. I'm going to step out and do it, even though I messed up, even though it doesn't feel right, even though it feels like I'm really setting myself up for persecution and being kicked out of the club. I'm going to trust you, God, and do it anyway. And then watch your life transform. All right, people. I came down to the water's edge today. It's just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And it is Monday for me. I love Mondays now. I just love Mondays. I love waking up, getting God's natural wake up power in my eyes. Go have a great day. Rise and shine. And in order to rise, you have to first get on your knees and humble yourself. All right. Bye.